Now to the latest on a story we first told you about yesterday. A 3-year-old who's autistic left alone for hours inside a school van in Monson. An investigation is now underway, and we're learning more about what unfolded that day. Western Mass News reporter Briseida Landaverde joins us live from the Monson Police Department with more. Briseida.
Yeah, Jordan, well, we obtained the police report from last Thursday, and what we learned is that the driver didn't check the inside or the outside of the vehicle, which led to the 3-year-old being alone for over 3 hours. Now, we did speak to one grandparent in the community who shared her concerns with us.
This has never happened here.
Wendy Peck, a Monson resident, is raising her 3 grandchildren, including her 3-year-old grandson. She was upset to find out someone his age was left inside a school van in town for over 3 hours one day last week.
Due to the fact this child also had a disability, this child had nobody to advocate, and my heart is broken.
According to the Monson Police Department, on Thursday, September 16th, officers received a complaint from the family of a 3-year-old who was autistic, who said their child had gotten on a school van around 8:30 in the morning. But around noontime, the family received a call from the Quarry Hill Community School checking up on the child's absence that day.
At that point, it is apparent to us that the bus driver left the van with the 3-year-old child on the van and went home.
Monson Police Chief Stephen Kozlowski tells Western Mass News school officials searched for the child and found that the 3-year-old was still in a car seat inside a school van, which was parked outside of the school.
It was determined that the child was still in the van at that time, which we estimate to be approximately 11:30 to 11:45.
Chief Kozlowski tells us the child was checked out by emergency response officials and was not taken to the hospital.
So it's my understanding that the child was in relatively good health, although there were some concerns expressed to us by the family that the child was rather wet and sweaty when they had gotten home.
According to a police report obtained by Western Mass News, officers asked the van driver, 45-year-old Erica De Jesus, if there is a policy in place for vehicle inspection at the end of day. She said that the driver is supposed to check both the interior and exterior to make sure the van is empty. However, when asked if she did this walk around on the day of the incident, she stated she did not.
The operator indicated that for some reason they did not check the inside that day.
Meantime, the police chief noting the temperature that day was in the 70s and that the windows in the van were open about an inch or two.
And so while this was a tragic event that occurred on Thursday, had it occurred just the day before, I think the outcome could have been certainly much worse.
This incident leaving Peck with many questions as she decides where to send her grandson to school next year.
Where my little guy does have communication disabilities, I would not want to send him on a bus at this moment. I would want to drive him in, make sure he got there, and make sure I do pick him up, which is unfair because a lot of parents cannot travel their child to school.
And Erica De Jesus is charged with reckless endangerment of a child. Now, she did receive a summons and will face a judge tomorrow at the Palmer District Court. Now, coming up at 6, we hear from a separate school van company who has a safety tool in place to prevent an incident like this from happening. For now, reporting live in Monson, Briseida Landaverde for Western Mass News.